Welcome, you sick bastards, to this fine episode of the Hot Death Horror Podcast. This time around, I am really stoked about this guest. I've been wanting to have him on for a little while. I have just been kind of messing around about it and haven't really gotten serious about asking him, and I finally did. I'm like, hey, you got some time? I'd love to have you on. Uh, you know him from Tahoe Joe. You know him from Ghost. You know him from The Flock. He's got some other stuff coming out, Target List, or that's already a actually. But he's in a little film called Target List. Lots of other stuff coming up. The ladies love him. A lot of the dudes love him. Um, just a super awesome all around guy. Like plays a hero in the movies, but is a hero in real life as well. Former Green Beret, current uh, pedophile hunter, Mr. Michael Rock. How are you today, sir?
Hey man, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for the great introduction.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. I want to get the whole horror dads universe in here at one point in time or another. I've had Dylan Brown on. I'm a huge fan of his. Him and I talk a lot on the side. He's helped me out a lot with my films that I've done. But you've been in both of the films that I've done. Really excited about the upcoming release of Lights Over Montgomery County.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be playing the fabulous Rick Davis.
Rick Davis.
I think folks are gonna get a kick out of that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, how did acting find you? Because obviously you've got a pretty interesting past. You're a former Green Beret. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
your
yeah,
job that you do now is kind of like a horror film in itself. I've
yeah, yeah.
I've
It's
I've
you are
got
correct
some
on that.
I've got some experience working in corrections with those types of people, and it's not a fun lifestyle, man. I don't recommend it to a lot of people. So just you know,
Mm.
with your personal life and then your acting profession, how did those things kind of meet?
Yeah, well, so it all started. I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts. Um, Single parent household, lived in the hood, got in a lot of trouble, stuff like that. But just one day, eventually, I took a look around and I was seeing who I was hanging out with and looking at my future. I was like, man, I need something different. And so I actually went to broadcasting school and to get into radio and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I was at a radio station called Big D 103. It was an oldie station. And I was working there overnight, just doing like board operating producer type stuff.
Hmm.
And man, I hated it. I was hating it. Here I was, this kid from the hood that liked hardcore rap music and stuff, and they were playing like Chubby Checker and Elvis Presley and the Beatles. And that wasn't my cup of tea. I was like, man, this sucks. So I decided to take a look at the Army website. And so I saw a picture of an M1 tank, and it said, "Do you want to explore an M1 tank?" I said, "Yes, I do." And so I called the recruiter. One thing led to another, and I became a tanker in the Army. 19 kilo is the MOS code. So I did that for 4 years. And when I was deployed to Iraq, I was in this makeshift movie theater, and a guy comes in and he says, "Hey, the Green Berets are here. They need this building for a mission. Everybody needs to get out." And so I left the movie theater and I saw the helicopter land and I saw the Green Berets get out. I was like, man, those guys are rock stars. And so that stuck with me for years. I eventually got out for a few years because I wanted to just be a regular guy and raise my family and stuff like that with my ex-wife. But I was never happy. And being a Green Beret was always something that just stuck in my head. And I knew I was getting older and I needed to go try to be a Green Beret before I got too old to do it. So I joined the Army again. I went to infantry basic training and all this other stuff and airborne school. And I went to 82nd Airborne. And then a couple months after getting 82nd Airborne, I contacted a Special Forces recruiter. So I went to what's called Special Forces Assessment and Selection, where they just beat the living hell out of you, for weeks at a time, just to see if you're good enough to attempt training, which training is anywhere from It's usually a little bit over a year to up to 2 years, depending on which job you get. And so I got selected for additional training, to see if I can make it. And I made it, put on my Green Beret, and I love my job. Love my job. Um, After my deployment to Afghanistan, my body was just too beat up though. And so when I got back, my body shut down on me, and I had all the MRIs and everything like that. And my doc said to me, Mike, dude, you can't do your Green Beret stuff anymore. So you can either retire, take a full medical retirement, or we can hide you out and you can attempt, to stay hidden for the remainder of your career while doing paperwork. And I was like, man, I'm not that type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the medical retirement. So during my retirement process, I was recruited into this new program called the Hero Corps, which stands for Human Exploitation Rescue Operative. Now, when this program first started, they were just recruiting guys from the special operations communities. So, Green Berets, SEALs, Rangers, stuff like that. And so I took a look at the recruiting video, and basically it was fighting child sexual exploitation using computer forensics. So taking down pedophiles using computer forensics. And I was like, man, dude, I absolutely hate computers, but I hate pedophiles even more. So let me go do that. Yeah. And so I transitioned out of the army, retired, started doing that. And that was a swift kick in the gut, man. I went from being like this action guy, this absolute war machine, to sitting at a computer and watching the worst of the worst that humanity has to offer happen to children every day. This was my job, taking these computers and phones and going through them with a fine tooth comb and finding all this illegal stuff in order to get a pedophile prosecuted. And so my mental health really took a toll on me. And so uh, I had to find something to balance me out. And so I signed up with this place called GoRuck. GoRuck has started off as like a gear company, and they went on to start doing all these like endurance events based off of special operations training.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw that it was started and ran by a former Green Beret, I was like, hey, I'm one of those guys. So I emailed them and was like, hey, I want in. I want to be a cadre and run these events. And so that's what I started doing. It was like a little side hustle that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So my regular job was taking down pedophiles. And then I started running events for GoRuck. And very quickly, I saw what it was doing to other people, and I saw what it was doing to me. It was taking all these folks, taking them out of their comfort zone, and they were accomplishing all these physical and mental tasks that they never thought that they could accomplish in their lives. And so it was changing them for the better. And I was also able to teach them certain things that I learned while in the army. I would teach them military history, tactics, survival skills, uh, spy school stuff. So I was teaching them all this stuff, and I noticed my mental health was balancing out. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I did that for 5 years. Every now and then I would leave for the weekend and go run these events. Well, because of all the injuries I suffered in the army, I'm 100% disabled. My body just couldn't take it anymore. So I decided to hang it up from doing that. But I needed something else. Um, I needed that balance. And so I decided to try acting. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to try acting, because when I would run these events, I would always become a different person anyway. So it was like I was acting anyway. So I was like, all right, let me try acting. And so I saw that they were auditioning for this play out in a place called Virginia City at a historic opera house called Piper's Opera House, Virginia City, Nevada. And I went in, I auditioned for a small part. I ended up getting the male lead, and acting just took off from there, man. And I freaking loved it. My first play, I was this women abusing, owner of a speakeasy.
Hmm.
My second play, I was Family Guy Bob Cratchit from A Christmas Carol with Tiny Tim on my shoulder singing Christmas songs. And then my final play, I was a male burlesque dancer. So I ran the gamut.
Yeah.
Everything. But so as much fun as I had doing that, it would also took up a lot of time. Also took up a ton of time. It was like 4 hours a day, 3 days a week that I was doing that stuff. So I was like, man, I have like no personal life. So let me quit this and let me go try movies. And so I decided to try to get into movies. And I got linked up with this Facebook group called the Reno Actors Guild. And somebody posted, hey, we're auditioning for uh, the roles of some mercenaries for this movie called The Flock. I was like, okay, let me apply to this. And so I got hit back and I went and I applied. I auditioned for the movie The Flock. That's where I first met Dylan, and we hit it off from there. It was fantastic. Yeah, and that's basically where my movie career started. So I've been doing that maybe 2 years now, something like that. A little
Yeah.
over 2 years. Yeah, yeah, it's been a blast, man. I've been doing all these roles, and Dylan and I have come up with some great stuff together, and it's been a pleasure working with him. And I don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear because I know, like I said, I'm a fan of the things that I've seen you in, and the the brown rock combo. It's
Yeah,
it's kind of like I don't know what to compare it to, but you two, you can tell there's a really good vibe there. Like you go from just being a guy showing up to an audition to walking out with a best friend, kind of. I mean,
yeah,
and you can tell you guys have great chemistry. Like I'll just say that the stuff that I've seen you guys in together. I mean, even though in Ghost, Dylan just plays that's about the most he does. But he plays a monk, um,
yeah,
but he doesn't have to say anything. You know what I mean? Like you can just tell that you guys play off of each other really well, and that's not something that comes out very easily. You know what I mean? It's pretty rare to see that kind of thing. So, and for someone like yourself to you know not technically be a classically trained actor. You know what I mean? You did some plays and things like that, but it's it's pretty incredible actually to see you in those roles. I mean, I think your past probably helped you out a little bit with playing the mercenary type role because you have that military background, so you know how to handle a firearm properly. So you're not really acting at that point. The only acting is it's not loaded. But
yeah, yeah.
um, I'm I'm excited to see more from you is because I think your range is fantastic. I mean, you go from playing the kick-ass action hero to the little kind of smaller ish parts you've done in my stuff. The first one, the spoken, it was my first one. Sorry, it's not the
And you made
greatest
it.
in the world, but
You made a movie, brother.
I
You
I
made a
did
movie. A lot
I
of
did
people can't say that.
I did do that. And you know, all the positive feedback I do get from it is usually regarding your scene. It really is. Like everyone's like, yeah, it was okay. It was. I think they're just being nice, but they're like, but Rock killed it in that scene. Like that scene was really good.
Oh man, thanks,
So
man.
yeah, but I mean, you did. You nailed that role. And then now in the newer one, the Lights Over Montgomery County, uh, playing the host. I won't give too much away about it because it's not out yet. But you're playing a host of a public access station TV show, and I mean you nailed that too. So I think a lot of people are in for a treat with what you got coming. In the near future. I really do. I think that I think you're one of those rare. It's like you're a natural. kind of type thing. You found acting and you're like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. At least to me, that's the vibe I get. Like, this guy's supposed to be on camera, and I just think it's awesome. Uh, and you're not only that, I mean, you're a hell of a nice guy too. Like, that's another thing. There's a lot of people that I've met in some of these groups on Facebook. I'm pretty new to the filmmaking world myself, but I've met a lot of different kinds of folks, and you know, you know how the internet goes. I mean, especially
Yeah,
you, because like you said, you work with the worst of the worst. But I mean, as far as just day-to-day interactions on the internet, people can really be assholes sometimes when they want to be, and it's nice to see that there's still people out there that are not like that. Like you, Dylan, Josh Brucker, Hunter, the whole Horror Dads unit. You guys legitimately care if people succeed.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not a it's not a feast or famine type of vibe I get from you guys. You guys, at least for me, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but at least for me, the vibe I've gotten from you guys is like, oh yeah, come on, there's plenty of room at the table, we can all eat.
yeah.
Come on in, we're
Exactly.
gonna we're gonna help you with whatever you need, and I do mean whatever. I mean, it's amazing how helpful you guys have been to me, and I can't help but think that just it's just part of who you are. Like I said, you're just a genuinely nice guy, and I feel like that's just who you are. It's you could you could probably kick somebody's ass, but you choose not to because that's kind of your past life.
Yeah, I mean, just because I did all that cool guy stuff and kicking ass and taking names, like I don't need to constantly push that.
Right,
Like look at me, I'm a tough guy. I'm a tough guy. Like I know who I am.
right.
I know who I am, what I can do, what I've done, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would just rather make the world a better place.
Yep.
So when people come to me like yourself, genuinely good dudes, who aren't sitting here trying to actually use people and stuff like that and just trying to have fun with life and pursue a passion, man, I'm all about helping.
Yeah.
And so are the other horror dads. That's just what we like.
Yeah.
And we talk like Dylan and I talk about you like in a positive light. Like we like you. You're an awesome dude. And so we love working with you. There's people that we know that we don't like. Those types of people, they kind of use up people and unreliable and all sort of stuff. So we kind of push those guys aside.
Yeah.
And if those people came to us and asking for stuff, we know what their mo is.
Right.
So we're not gonna give our time because I mean, hell, time is one thing that we can never get back.
Yep.
So if we give some piece of garbage human our time, we're not going to get that back. We can use that time to help somebody who's a good person.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
I appreciate those kind words too, because that's who I am. I try to be a good person, make the world a better place.
Yeah,
It's not there's it's a shame that people do that go out and just use people and say, okay, yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna get what I need out of this person, and then just kind of move on. I've
yeah,
known
yeah,
people like that, and I see. I'm not even a well-known filmmaker yet. I mean, a few people are kind of there's some people jumping on the bandwagon for the Lights Over Montgomery County. I'm kind of excited about that. I really am. There's a few, there are a few people that I guess I could call fans that are kind of jumping on like, oh, this thing looks great. But at the end of the day, like as filmmakers, we share our screeners sometimes. It's like, hey, you want to check this thing out? Just let me know what you think before it's widely released. And I have had, I don't know, more than a handful of people, offer like, yeah, I'll check it out and I'll give you a review or I'll give you some feedback. And then it's like crickets. I give them the screener, something that I worked hard on
yeah,
and something that is, I eventually hope to make money on. I literally just give it to them like, here you go, watch this for free. And then it's like crickets. And then, you hit them up again. It's like, hey, what'd you think? How'd I do? And blah, blah, blah. Nothing. And I mean, man, that makes me so mad sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
really? Like, what?
yeah.
Why are
They
you
just
just
want
an
to use you
awful
for a free
person?
movie.
Yeah,
They
basically,
just,
it's like you just
that's
saw a
it.
free movie. Thanks,
Yeah, yeah,
So, but I won't get too far into that. That's kind of a downer conversation. But it it's nice to see that there are folks out there like yourself and Dylan and Hunter and Joshua. That's kind of where I was going with that. It's nice to see, especially in a profession like this. Not that I can call it a profession because I don't do it for a living, but hopefully one day maybe. But it's just nice to see in the world nowadays. It's nice to see that there are folks out there that legitimately want to help, and I'm thankful I found you guys, and it will be nice to one day meet you guys in person, go down there, film. I've got something in the works right now that I would really just love to film down in your guys' neck of the woods. So
yeah.
more to come on that.
Come on down, brother. My house is your house. Open door.
Yeah, well, that'd be fantastic. And I did have a little thing here prepared that's I guess was kind of supposed to be at the beginning of the show because it's a new little segment I created called awkward icebreakers. It was with Dylan, I called it something else. I think it was like awkward shit to ask to break the ice or something. I was like, yeah, it's too long, so we'll just call it awkward icebreakers.
All
So
right.
if you're willing and ready, it's just 10 questions. Don't think about it. Just fire out the first answer that comes to mind, and just kind of a little bit more for folks to get to know Michael Rock. You in?
I'm in. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
You prefer hunting or fishing?
Hunting.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Favorite vacation spot?
Ah, man. Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay. Favorite horror movie?
Alien abduction.
Would you rather be the richest man in the world or be able to live forever?
Richest man in the world.
A man. Would you rather explore outer space or the deepest ocean?
Deepest ocean.
A man. Can you dunk on a regulation hoop?
No.
Me neither. And last one, and this one I'm going to ask everybody. I think if offered 10 million and one A-lister, who is it and what movie are you making?
Man. Is John Bernthal, is he considered an A-lister?
Hell yeah, he is.
Okay. We're doing John Bernthal. And we're remaking Ghosts with a lot of money.
There we go. John Bernthal as Ghost or
John Bernthal as Ghost.
John
Hell yeah.
Bernthal as Ghost.
Hell
Okay.
yeah. Hell
Dude,
yeah.
I love John Bernthal. Hell yeah, he's an A-lister. Like he's funny too because he has a good podcast as well, the real ones. And he's a
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
super humble dude. Like I don't think he would call himself an A-lister. I really don't. But I consider him an A-lister. I mean, he's on The Walking Dead. Well, was on The Walking Dead. He was the Punisher. He's been in, I mean,
Yeah.
a ton of movies, and I don't think I've seen a bad movie with that guy in it. Really, I
Yeah.
mean,
After watching a few episodes of Real Ones, I was like, dude, this guy's legit. Like,
he is.
I don't hang out with many people in this world.
Mhm.
John Bernthal is somebody I could see myself hanging out with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I
He's
would
not
love.
he's not full of himself. He's like very down to earth,
No.
chill, just seems like a solid dude all
Yep.
around.
Yep. And he's got a little bit of a history, a little bit of a past that he's not afraid to, not ashamed of. You know what I mean? So I think that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
helps keep him grounded because he's like to me he seems like one of those dudes. It's like I'm just one of the lucky ones that made it, man. Like I came from a bad place and I'm just one of the lucky ones that made it, and I think that that's cool as hell. Like he's he's not full of himself, like you said. Yeah, I'm sure he's got more fame than he's willing to admit. And I'm sure he's got a nice, healthy bank account, but he doesn't go around flossing. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
in the roles that he takes too. He seems like he's a fan of indie work, because he's done some smaller films, taken on some smaller roles. Like he doesn't seem like he just has to be the star all the time. And I respect that. I think that that's cool as hell. So a ghost remake with John Bernthal as Ghost. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
see that. I would go to the
yeah,
theater on release day and see that.
yeah. Now, with that said, that's not saying I'm taking a hit on Ghost. Like,
Right.
I love the movie. I love Ghost. Like, it was
Yeah.
a fun movie. But man, give it like a $10 million budget, John Bernthal in there,
Oh,
bro.
oh, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, you guys nailed that movie on the budget that you had, but yeah, 10 million, even without John Bernthal. If you guys had $10 million, I think that movie would have just
Dude,
been. I mean, it's already great.
yeah.
My son and I were actually just talking about it before we started the podcast, and because he wanted to meet you and everything, and I told him, I was like, yeah, because you like Tahoe Joe and Ghost. And he says, well, I haven't seen Ghost, but I know you've seen it like 7 times. It's it is true. I've watched Ghost a lot because to me it's probably I don't I it's hard to call it my favorite that you guys have done because between Ghost and Tahoe Joe, I mean, two completely different movies,
Two completely different. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Which is cool. It shows our range there.
shows
You
your
know.
range. Yeah, they're
So
both so well done though, and I mean it's hard to imagine actually how they how they are both so well done on such a budget, which showcases your guys' talent is what I'm getting at. It's like you didn't have a huge Hollywood studio backed
no.
project, you didn't have any of that, and yet you made these movies. Tahoe Joe especially, like that's I kind of want to dig into that a little bit. Tahoe Joe is I constantly see it get brought up in conversation with Exists and the Lost Coast tapes and Willow
Yeah.
Creek. Like how does that make you feel knowing that you guys went out and made this thing on like what $1,000 or something like that? I mean, you
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
you kind of just you went out in the woods and you're like, all right, let's see what happens. How does that make
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah.
knowing that you were in a movie now that probably a million people have seen and compare it to the greats like exists?
Yeah. I mean, at first, uh, man, I was shocked. I was shocked. But now I'm just filled with pride,
Hmm.
about it, and grateful as well to Dylan for asking me to be part of Tahoe Joe as well. After he worked with me on a flock, he came to me and said, "Hey, I have this little passion project I've been thinking about making for a good while now. It's about a Sasquatch in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Are you in?" And so I decided, yes, I'm in. Let's do it. And just had a blast making it, man. Just
Yeah.
a couple of bros out in the woods having a good time.
Hmm.
And yeah, and so to see compared to Exists and Willow Creek and stuff, and some people even put Tahoe Joe above Exists,
Hmm.
which Exists is like, my goodness, Exists budget here, Tahoe Joe is like way down, you know. So to see the comparisons there, it's absolutely amazing.
Oh
So
yeah.
we are super pumped about Tahoe Joe too, and that's one thing I take real great pride in with Dylan and I is how much we can do with so little.
Mhm.
We take such minuscule, tiny budgets and make the most of it because we go out there and we're not burning bridges. We're making great connections,
Mhm.
and not because we're trying to use people, but just because we just generally like this person and that person, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
people can see that. So when it comes to locations or we need people to be in the movies, people are super quick to jump in. Oh hey, I have this location that you can use. Oh hey, I have this. Hey, what about this? Hey, I'll be in this movie if you need me. And so we take all this stuff and we just create magic and we don't spend any money.
Yeah.
And that, see, for me, this is just like a side quest for me. You know, one
Mhm.
of my forever side quests. And Dylan and I talked about it. And when it stops being fun for us, that's when we're going to pull out and stop making movies. Well, this is fun.
Yeah.
As long as him and I are making this stuff, we have our little connection going on, and it's a blast, man. It's a blast. I absolutely love it. I'm grateful for it. Very thankful,
Mhm.
and I'm super happy to see that people like yourself and other folks like what we put out.
Yeah.
Especially again with the budgets that we have, the fact that it's getting brought up with some of the heavy hitters is that's unbelievable.
Yeah. When I first saw Tahoe Joe, that was actually before I knew any of you guys. I didn't know who you were. I watched Tahoe Joe, and to me, I actually thought that it was another big Hollywood studio found footage, mockumentary movie.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it, and then I don't remember how it got brought up, but somebody was talking about it in one of the found footage groups on Facebook, and Dylan was in there replying, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's the dude that made the movie." And then I
yeah,
think you replied to somebody else, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's in the movie." I was like, "How does that happen? Why are there famous
yeah,
people in this little Facebook group?" Because I legitimately thought I was like, "These guys are famous. How is this? Nobody gets to just talk to famous people." So then I was like, "Well, shit, let me throw my hat in the ring here." So I think I hit up Dylan about something. He made a joke about something, and I replied, and then he replied back to me. I was like, "Oh, he's actually talking to me. That is great."
yeah,
And then that's kind of how Dylan and I met, is through that Facebook group. And then I had kind of mentioned, "Hey, I wouldn't mind trying my hand at making a movie." And then that's when the spoken came to fruition. And he's like, "Whatever you need, man, I'll help you out." And I was like, "No way, really?" He's like, "Yep,
yeah,
whatever you need." So I hit him up, and I mean, it for a while it was like constant. And I'm like, "This guy is gonna get so tired of me." And I'd apologize. I'm like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I hope I'm not bugging you. Like, please tell me to just screw off if I'm like bugging the crap out of you." He's like, "No, dude, you're fine. Like, this is what I do it for." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Wow, that is so cool."
yeah, yeah. Because he does the same thing.
Yeah,
People that have made a bunch of movies and stuff, and movies that have been big hits, he hits them up. That's just part of this circle, man. You find awesome people that we're not trying to mooch, we're not trying to use people or anything like that, and we just vibe well together, and that's it.
yeah,
Circle goes on.
yeah. So do you see, and now I know that Dylan has said that he'd like to go back to that universe at some point in time, but do you see yourself playing Ghost again, or maybe just one last time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We talked about Ghost 2,
Okay.
and we bounced some amazing ideas off of each other. We even talked about the ending, how we want the Ghost universe to end,
Hmm.
and it's like if that happens, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
It'll be
Well,
amazing, and the way things are going now, the steam that Horror Nerd Productions and Horror Dads Productions is getting, when that eventually happens, hopefully it eventually happens. The budget will be much bigger,
mhm.
so we can go hardcore with some stuff, and yeah. But again, as we're talking about Ghost 2, we already have people that are like, hey, you can use all this amazing stuff that I have,
Yeah.
like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff, like for free that we can use because of those connections,
Hmm.
just by being a solid person, man.
Yeah.
You know, like like if you go out there and you try to make the world a better place. I'm sorry, not trying to sound like all cheesy and preachy and stuff, but if you go out there and try to make the world a better place and you're just generally a good person, man, all this good stuff is going to come your way.
Oh
You're going
yeah.
to build up those karma reserves,
Yeah.
and then something amazing is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's been happening with old Mike Rock and his film career. All these amazing opportunities keep coming around, and I keep making great connections, and Dylan does too. And it's just, man, just to think back of where both Dylan and I were, like just like 2 years ago, up
Hmm.
until now. It's crazy,
Hmm.
absolutely crazy. The amount of stuff that we've done, things that have come out, things that are in the works, connections that we made since then. So, we got projects lined up until probably 2025, 2026. Yeah. So, in like 2, 3 years, like if we made this much progress just in 2 years,
Hmm.
I can only imagine what the next 2 years is going to hold. Where we're going to be at.
Yeah, dude.
Especially, we submitted, or Dylan submitted Ghost and Tahoe Joe to some huge film festivals. So if we get some wins in there, that's just going to help it out even more.
Oh yeah.
And the thing with me, thing that I say is like the people that we work with in our movies and stuff like that. If one of us makes it, then we all make it.
Yep.
Like the girl who played Eve in Ghost,
Hmm.
Amanda Morgan,
Hmm.
Mandy. She's my girlfriend's real life nanny. Just an amazing human.
Yeah.
Tao Joe was her first movie role,
Hmm.
and I really liked uh, the vibe that she gave out in Tao Joe. So talked to Dylan, put her in Ghost as Eve. We absolutely loved working with her, and she really caught that bug, and so she's been just on a tear since. She went to Los Angeles to this competition. She won like best self tape at this competition, and she took home like is like the fourth best actress over there, and
Wow.
she's been getting role after role. It's just like I said, man. If one of us makes it, we all make it.
Yeah.
And I love that, man. I love that. We're just out there helping each other out. We don't want anything in return aside from just being a solid person.
Right.
And it makes it a lot better. It's fun, and again, it makes it more like a really fun and exciting hobby as opposed to it's like you're gritting your teeth off because I have to go work with this person. I really hate this person. They suck as a human, but I got to make this movie with them.
Yeah.
I'm in a position, Dylan's in a position where it's like, okay, if we don't like working with you, oh, we don't have to.
Right.
We have real jobs. This is just for fun. And
Yeah.
if something big comes of it, cool. If not, cool.
Yeah. And that's another amazing thing too I was going to touch on is the fact that you guys don't do this for a living. Like, I mean, come on, you've got at least two major, I'm going to call them hits because to me they are with Tahoe Joe and Ghost. I mean, those two movies, Tahoe Joe especially, kind of really just blew up,
Yeah, yeah,
and I, I
yeah,
think I think Ghost is still kind of fresh, but I see over the next year, I see Ghost really kind of blowing up too because it's so different. I think people get so jaded when it comes to found footage, and then people they have these made up rules, which I know Dylan loves to talk about. People have
yeah,
these made up rules for what found footage should be and all this, and it's like you guys, I'm not going to say you broke every one of the rules, but you broke a lot of them. And you made
yeah,
this freaking phenomenal movie, not to mention with Vernon Wells in it. I mean, that guy, talk about, I'm going to consider him an A-lister as well because he's been around for a long time. Uh, he was in Commando, he's in Mad Max. I mean, this dude's been in a lot of movies. And now
yeah,
you can say, like, yeah, I've been in a movie with that guy, and
yeah,
for this not to be your everyday profession, like that's a pretty significant accomplishment, man. I mean, that really is to just say, we just kind of started doing this one day because it was fun and it still is
yeah,
fun, and you've already got, that kind of a heavyweight name on your resume worked with. You've got two hit films. Yeah, I think you're definitely on to something with being booked up till 25, 26. You guys are for sure going to see a lot of success, and I'm thrilled to be, to be around to see it. Like, what a good time to be alive and kind of in this universe. A lot of the people
yeah,
that I've met along the way, it's really cool. The small group of people that you guys kind of, at least as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, you guys have kind of started a little inner circle, and it's really cool to be part of it. And I think that you guys are gonna have a lot of success. I think you're owed a lot of success. I think you deserve it for sure. I mean, that's got to be a pretty amazing feeling. You know what I mean? To just wake up every day and like this is, people, like you said, not everybody gets a chance to make a movie. Not everybody does that, and to go from what you were doing 2 years ago. Like, did you ever think that you were going to be like a movie star one day? Like, was that ever on the top of your mind?
Never, never,
No.
no, no. And again, I just did it because I needed a new way to balance myself out.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? I'll tell you what the time I actually pulled the trigger on acting was, so I was doing the go rec thing, had to retire from that because my body was all broken and stuff like that. I was doing a bodybuilding competition, competing in men's physique,
Hmm.
and so I remember stepping up on stage, just shredded to the gills. And again, the real Mike Rock, man. I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't hang out with a lot of people. If I go to a party, you'll see me pretty much keeping to myself,
Hmm.
very quiet. But when I stepped on stage and I heard the roar of the crowd and the lights were on me and all the attention was on me, man, it was a feeling like no other.
Hmm.
And so I took that along with what I was doing in GoRec, basically becoming a new character. And that's when I really decided, okay, now I'm gonna try acting.
Yeah.
And again, I just wanted to do some stage stuff, again, just for fun. And it just took off. It just took off. And even at one point when I decided to get into movies, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this local stuff, or make a few movies here. Then I'm gonna go to LA. I'm gonna apply. Take some flights down there, go to auditions, and yada yada yada. But then after a while, especially with working with Dylan, I was like, you know what? I don't need to go to LA. like, like if I go to LA, I have to deal with a whole bunch of BS down there and a bunch of people
Hmm.
just stabbing me in the back and just slimy people. I'm over here in Reno, of all places, just having a blast, just
Hmm.
having a blast making these movies. And so I decided, you know what? That's it, man. I'm good. I am happy in Reno. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So I mean, if somebody ended up calling me from LA saying, "Hey, we want you in your movie," or "We want you in our movie,"
Hmm.
cool. But like, I'm not interested in going to all the casting calls and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
this is fun, man. It's fun.
it shows. It shows in your work for sure. That that you guys are having fun with it, and I think
Yeah,
that's all that matters because this it's not what I do either. Like I have a day job as well, and to find this was kind of came at the perfect time in my life as well, because I don't have a military background. My dad, Vietnam veteran, my brother, Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran. Me, I was a pot smoker chasing tail. I wasn't mature enough to make that decision. So I don't have a military background, but I grew up in a place, in Washington, in Tacoma, Washington, outside. It's about a half hour outside of Seattle. Wasn't the best area, to live in at the time in the 90s. There was a lot of gang stuff there too. I wasn't part of any of that, but I lived around it. So
yeah,
I as well come from a little bit of a background that I'm not proud of at times. I don't have like a criminal record, but I have dealt with the law enforcement in the past, but I changed that around after high school. Once I finally grew up a little bit, I mean, my 20s, I was still kind of a bonehead, but
mhm,
that's when I kind of started to put it together that, okay, I need to actually do something with my life. And that's when I got into, I worked in corrections for a while. And man, that I admire people that can do that for a whole lifetime for a career, because that's just the mental toll. I think more than anything, it's the mental toll
yeah,
that it takes on a person. I mean, it was a great living for sure. I mean, the money I made from it was phenomenal because I could work all the overtime I wanted. I could work 16-hour days every day of the week if I wanted.
mhm,
But it was hard. It was really hard, and I didn't have like you said, you couldn't do the Green Beret stuff anymore because your body just kind of shut down. I I didn't have any of that, but mentally I was shutting down. And then I went through a really bad time where I struggled with alcoholism for a long, long time. And,
Mhm.
proud to say I don't anymore. I haven't had a drink in over 2.5 years now. So I've gotten away from that. Is kind of where I was going. But it's
Mhm.
for me, it was kind of like the perfect time for this to find me as well. Like because it found me for sure. I wasn't looking to make movies. I mean, of course, I've always thought it would be really cool because I'm a fan of movies. I watch movies. I watch TV shows. I'm a fan of the entertainment industry, but I never thought for a second that I would be making movies, having conversations with you and Dylan and Ron Chevry and Ash Hamilton and all these guys that I've met along the way.
Yeah.
I never envisioned that. And it was just like one day it kind of threw itself in my lap. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. This isn't where I was planning on going. And
Yeah.
I'm just so glad I did because it really is it's a game changer. It's so much fun. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon either. It's just it's so much fun. And that's kind of I'm touching on what you said about going to LA and dealing with all that BS. Sure, I mean if somebody called me and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to come down here and work on this project for
Yeah.
such amount of dollars," of course I would do it. Would I move there? Hell no. I don't think I grew up on the West Coast. I was actually born in California. I grew up in Washington, and then we moved to Texas about 3 years ago. So
Mhm.
I'm not from here. Um, but I wouldn't go back to living. Sorry, my light just turned off. I wouldn't go back to living on the West Coast. And California is a hard place to live, man. Like it's really expensive out there, and it just
Yeah.
it's a different kind of lifestyle. So I don't think I could do it. Um, but I that was kind of a ramble for no reason. But um, with the things you got coming up, what can you talk about?
Let's see here. Let's see. We're gonna start filming Tahoe Joe 2 here pretty soon. So Tahoe Joe 2 is gonna be wild, man. It's gonna be a wild ride, and I am super excited to start filming that. We have some great locations picked out. We have some great folks that are gonna be part of it. So that so when people watch Tahoe Joe 2, they're gonna want to go back and watch the first Tahoe Joe
Okay,
because then they're gonna be like, ah.
okay,
That's all I can really say about it.
right.
Uh, let's see. What else we got? Lights Over Montgomery County. By far the best movie I've been part of. Coming out soon.
Wow, best movie. You are a good actor.
So that was super fun, man. That was super fun. I enjoyed that one. Let's see. Uh, Ghost 2 eventually. Eventually that. I know Dylan has a couple other things in the mix. Um, whether I'm part of those things or not, I don't know. I mean, if he wants me to be part of them, he just has to ask me, and boom, I'm in. But then yeah, some other stuff I can't really talk about because I'm not sure how much could be said.
Okay.
Um, yeah, there's some other like super minor roles with like some local production companies and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
nothing too big. Right now though, so one of my little, it's kind of like a little bucket list item of mine
Mhm.
was to be part of a haunted house.
Mhm.
And um, so a couple of the folks that were in Ghost, I met during my stage acting days, right? And we just hit it off, like great folks. And so we needed a location and some people, some extras for Ghost. So I hit up my buddy and his wife, and they were like, "Yeah, man, come on down, come to my place. You can use the location, and we have a bunch of people that are willing to basically get killed in a movie.
Mhm.
Cool." And so I met these guys, and they were all part of this haunted house crew called Dark Corner Haunt, and they were great folks. And so from there, they sent me a link, like for an audition to be part of the haunted house this year.
Okay.
So I was like, hell yeah. And so I went to the audition. I nailed it. They were like, "Dude, you're amazing. We want you to be, one of our main actors." And so I'm actually the rules guy. So when people come in, like I give everyone like the spiel about the rules and all sort of stuff, and I put them on the elevator and send them to their doom or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that, man. So that haunted house called Dark Corner Haunt. It opens Friday.
Okay.
It's this Friday coming up.
Dark Corner
So
Hunt. That's in the Reno area.
yeah, what date is that? I'm not good at dates. September, because I don't know when this is dropping.
Friday. Let's see.
It's like September 28th or 27th or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my iPad literally just like timed out on me, so I didn't pull up the
Yeah.
calendar. But
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. September 29th.
September
Yes,
20th.
September 29th, and it's going on to Halloween. Dark Corner Haunt in Reno. And so what we have is we have there's a giant bowling stadium. It's like a National Bowling Hall of Fame and everything like that is in there.
Hmm.
It's this giant place, and so the haunted house is in this giant place, this bowling stadium. And it's absolutely amazing. Like the work that went into this thing is phenomenal. So I'm really pumped about doing that. So since I'm doing that, I kind of, I haven't really applied, for auditions for anything else or anything like that. So I want to focus on that because, again, aside from my regular job, which is a full time gig, I have to do this on Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes on Thursdays as well.
Hmm.
And that's like 7 or 8 hours on top of my regular gig.
Whew.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a little bucket list thing, and I get to improv and
Yeah,
just have a good time with it. They let me have creative freedom,
yeah.
so they were like, "All right, man, just come up with your own character, do your thing." And
Uh,
so I came up with my own character, and they a couple of the heads were there to. We had like a friends and family night, so a couple of the heads were standing by me just to kind of watch what I put out, and they were like, "Yes, roll with that." So
okay.
so it's gonna be a blast, man. Yeah.
That's cool. That would be fun. I don't know that I've ever thought about doing something like that. Because I'm a little bit of an introvert. I think once I kind of break out of my shell and I get to know people, I liven up a little bit. But as far as something like that, I don't know. We did something a few years back with when my kid was in Cub Scouts. They had like a haunted woods thing. And, I did that. That was pretty fun. But to be part of an actual haunt that's kind of well known,
Yeah.
that would be a blast, man. That sounds like it'd be really fun. Like that's almost worth a trip to Reno itself, right there, to go
Yeah. Yeah.
to go see a haunt. Because we have them here too in the Houston area, but I don't. There's a pretty popular one, but I don't know really where it's at because we haven't been yet. But that would be fun. I mean, kind of going along the Hell House vibes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty popular found footage movie. So to actually work in one, that'd be pretty badass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome, man. And you said you're an introvert, bro. I consider myself an introvert as well. But the thing is, I've become comfortable at making myself uncomfortable.
Right.
So I take myself and I put myself in these situations where I have no choice but to interact with the public and use improv skills and be surrounded by people and have everyone looking at me and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And by doing this haunted house, like again, you have to be on your toes.
Hmm.
So again, I came up with my own spiel, but so like every 4 to 5 minutes, I'm giving a speech over and over again. And so every 4 to 5 minutes, I'm getting a whole new crew of people. So it's like 10 different people coming up every 4 to 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And you don't know who those people are or what they're gonna do, how they're gonna act, how drunk they are.
Right.
So you're gonna be on your toes and you gotta stay in character and you gotta be ready to snap back real fast and do all this stuff. And so in reality, it's it's some hardcore acting training that I'm
Yeah.
going through right now.
Yeah.
So
Some more good stuff to put on the resume because I know for a fact I plan on asking you to do a couple more things, for some projects I've got coming up in the future. Uh, so,
I'm in, brother. I'm
well,
in.
I certainly hope so because I would love to have you, especially for the one I I plan on coming to Reno to film, um, to meet you guys, number one, and then just to be in that particular location. I think that's a pretty good location for what I'm envisioning here. I've got a zombie flick. That's about all I'll say about it, but it's going to be a zombie flick, because I like that. I like that particular genre. I'm an old
Yeah,
school horror guy. I like all the old zombie flicks. I want to stay for now, at least, in the found footage realm, because I think that's a little more my cup of tea. I mean, I enjoy found footage horror the most. Aside from 80s horror, I think I enjoy found footage horror the most. Not to say that there's not some really good, traditional shot narrative, horror movies, but I just really enjoy found footage, and I think it's a blast to shoot. It makes it a little bit more challenging. I think a lot of folks will say different. I've heard people trashing it. Oh, it's easy and it's lazy. I don't think it's easy or lazy at all to shoot a found footage movie, because number one, you have to find a reason why there's a camera going at all times, and you have to make it interesting, because it's at the end of the day, you want people to buy what you're selling. You want them to think
yeah,
that what they're watching is real, while at the same time, like, they know they're watching a movie, but you want them to kind of question it a little bit. And that's, again, you guys nailed it with Tahoe Joe. It's If anybody didn't know any better and they were just watching that, they would probably think that that's a real documentary, you know.
yeah.
So
People actually hit me up.
yeah,
People find me on Instagram and hit me up.
yeah,
You
I
know, hey
believe
man, let me ask you about this movie. Is this real? Does this really happen? No.
yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Um, so yeah, I want to do that. I want to come down to that neck of the woods and film that. I'm working now on I want to do a series. I want to do kind of like a creep show type series. And I've got 5 episodes written, and I think that would be a good start. Like, I don't want to go crazy and do some 12 episode, hour long per episode type of deal. I don't necessarily want to call it an anthology, but I mean, I guess it's kind of that. But there's a few people doing anthologies right now. Like Ash Hamilton's got an anthology he's working on. There's a couple others. So I don't want to seem like I'm jumping on any bandwagons, but I think there's a lot of found footage movies. There's not a lot of found footage series.
Yeah,
I think, like Tales from the Crypt, I've mentioned it before on previous podcasts, that Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow and things like that those are my jam. Those are what I grew up with. I love them, and I would love to just pay homage to those types of shows in any way that I can. And I think to do it in the found footage world would be pretty awesome. Um,
that would be awesome. Yeah,
yeah. So like I said, I've got 5 episodes just about ready to go. So maybe someday off camera here we'll talk a little bit, and I can pitch you a little something for that. And then, like I said, since I'll be in Reno for the zombie thing, John Potash is executive producing that. Another phenomenal freaking guy. I mean, that guy's a rock star. He's a stud, man. I love that guy.
yeah, he's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking to him today.
Were you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was on a hike today and I saw a snake. There's a snake in this dark tunnel,
Oh, okay.
and boy was coiled up, ready to strike and stuff. And so I took a picture of him. I was like, hey man, what kind of snake is this? So because Potash is
Yep.
a snake handler in real life, has all these
Yep.
snakes and yeah,
Yep.
yeah, awesome guy.
Was it venomous?
No, no,
No. Okay, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, snakes, man. Oh my goodness. I'm in Texas, so we have our share of snakes too, and that I'm not really afraid of snakes. They don't bother me too much, but I'm not going out of my way to play with them for sure.
yeah. We have a
John,
lot of rattlesnakes around here.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I've been hiking in the hills a bunch. See rattlesnake. Usually at like dusk, they'll come out and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
they'll go on a trail. But they'll see humans come in, and they'll kind of rattle and be like, "Hey, guy, I'm here. Watch yourself."
Yep.
And then usually they'll just scatter around, like just take off.
Yeah, yeah. They don't. they don't typically want too much to do with people. That's one thing I've
Yeah,
noticed. They don't want too much to do with people. In a previous life, I was a cable guy, so I ran into them all the time, doing that. So that's kind of another reason why it's exciting to have Potash on board for the zombie thing, is because we can throw a little bit of wildlife up in the film, and
yeah,
he knows how to handle all that stuff. So I think it'd be pretty badass to do something with a snake, maybe a zombie snake would be a pretty fun idea to throw in the movie. So
yeah,
I don't know, it's just something I'm kicking around. Like I said, I've got the screenplay written. I just got to figure out the intricacies of makeup and effects and all that. But I'm really
yeah.
excited about that, and I hope that we can get you something in that. And then aside from the acting portion of it, um, you got anything that you're working on as a Michael Rock project? Are you directing anything, producing anything?
Yeah. So I actually just entered. It's called the Carson Creepy Contest.
Okay,
It's it's just a film competition for Halloween in Carson City, Nevada, the capital of Nevada. So that started a few days ago, and we have 14 days to produce a 5 to 9 minute horror movie,
okay,
and it's got to be like PG-13 or so. And so it's called My Willow. And so I'm using my girlfriend's daughter. Her name is Willow, and so
okay,
her and I are just like two peas in a pod. And so I'm gonna start filming that either today or tomorrow. But
okay.
I made a movie poster or where the props that I needed, stuff like that. So that's gonna be fun. And so that's got to be done by October 4th, and then October 14th is going to be the screening. If I made it into, if I made it into
Yeah,
the the, the finalist, I guess. So yeah, so that'll be fun.
okay,
Aside from that, I'm not really. No, like as far as making stuff, again, I'm super busy. I have some stuff that I do want to make, but I haven't pulled a trigger on it yet.
yeah,
I'm just trying to, I just had a spinal fusion in back in May, so I've been recovering from that. So my body's been bouncing back from that. So dealing with some health issues and stuff like that.
yeah.
Getting back into the fight, turning my body back into the machine that it used to be.
Hmm.
So kind of taking it easy. So just
Yeah.
waiting to film Tahoe Joe 2. Oh, Split Screen. I did a little bit of work in a movie Split Screen coming out.
Hmm.
That's Josh Brucker and Dylan Brown. Basically, what they did with that is they made 2 hour long horror movies.
Hmm.
It's being released together. So that's a fun one. That's
Yeah,
a fun one. So the one I worked on with that is the Grays. It's about aliens in Nevada. Go figure.
yeah.
So that one's pretty. That's a pretty fun one.
I wanted to ask about that one, but I wasn't sure because I know that Dylan and Josh have officially kind of announced it now on social media, but I know it was kind of a secret thing. Like
Yeah, yeah,
nobody knew
yeah,
that you guys were working on that. Nobody knew what was up. I didn't even for a while, and I think it wasn't until I said, "Hey, I'm making an alien flick. You want to do a little part in it?" I asked because Dylan's got a little part in Lights Over Montgomery County, and then it was like we did his scene, and then it was like he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's something I'm working on too." I was like, "What? That is
yeah,
so cool!" So, I've I've had the pleasure of seeing some of it. I haven't seen Josh's portion, um, but I've seen little pieces. He's kind of shared little pieces with me.
yeah, yeah,
It looks fantastic. I think both of them are going to be creepy as hell. And I mean, a split screen, a double feature. Like, again, talk about another, knocking it out of the park with being original. That nobody does that, and I think that that's
yeah.
so cool. So Grays, you were in. You had a part in Grays. I may or may not have had a small part in Grays as well. So that you're right, that was fun. Can you say anything about it? Are you willing to share anything about it?
I don't really want to say anything about it. I don't want
Okay,
to. I don't want Dylan to come over and
fair
beat me
enough.
up or something. So
Fair enough.
I don't. I don't know how much. He wants released. I mean, there are images and stuff
Hmm.
that he posted online, Alien and stuff.
Right.
Now, so the Alien and Grays, I will tell you this: out of all the movies that we've done together, the Alien is my favorite.
Yeah.
The Alien is my favorite because so not many things creep me out. Aliens creep me out.
Hmm.
Aliens are my bugaboos because you get some crazed serial killer, whatever. It's just a dude. I can kill him or whatever. It's no
Right.
problem. But and then like monsters and all this other stuff is like okay, that's slim chance that's gonna happen.
Sure.
Aliens, I believe in aliens,
Yep.
and so me, I think aliens, an alien invasion could really happen. And so alien stuff has always creeped me out.
Yeah. I,
And so this movie and even Lights Over Montgomery County, like I remember that first clip you sent me of Lights Over Montgomery County. I was like, bro, that's disturbing, and I was like legit disturbed. Yeah.
yeah.
So so I like it, man. I think it's real creepy.
Well,
So it's a good one. It's a good one.
okay. Well, yeah, I know he hasn't released too much on it, so that's why I was kind of cautious to ask what can you say. But again, total respect. I'm not here to pry on any of that stuff, but I I think it's going to be a hit from what I've seen of it. I think it's going to be a hit, and I'm right there with you as far as stuff creeping me out. I'm not really creeped out by much. Like you
Yeah.
said, monsters probably not. Ghosts maybe. I believe in ghosts. But aliens, yeah, dude. Like aliens, I'll lose sleep over alien stuff. Like that.
Yeah.
That really is
Yeah.
creepy because that's a legitimate possibility. The
It's a
universe is.
possibility, man. Yeah, it's a possibility. And if they can get here, I mean, they're using amazing technology to get here. So what other kind of technology do they have?
Well, yeah.
You know,
Well, who
is
knows?
my rifle gonna do anything to these guys? I don't know.
Who knows? And
What can they do to me?
right. Well,
Yeah.
and as far as I'm concerned, I think they've probably been around for a lot longer than we know. Like that's
Yeah.
a whole other conversation. Like we probably should have started that conversation an hour ago because I could talk about aliens all day, man. Like I'm a really big fan of Joe Rogan and his podcast, and he talks about aliens a lot. And some of the stuff that he's talked about, I was like, I wonder. Who's to
Yeah.
say we're not starting over from something that we were previously a million years ago? Like
Yeah.
the pyramids and things like that you see all over the world. Like, how was that crafted that long ago by people with zero technology? Like, you're telling me technology didn't exist a million years ago and an asteroid didn't just come and wipe it all out and we're round two or maybe we're round three. Like the Earth has been around for what 500 million years. Like, that is a long time. That's almost incomprehensible how long that is. Like
Yeah.
to me, it's kind of hard to believe that there has not been some sort of other civilization at some point in time, and here we are just thinking, "Oh yeah, we're the first one." Like, ugh, no, yeah, that creeps me out. That really creeps me out because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's ugh. So yeah, I won't get too far into that, but that's a creepy conversation. That's kind of why I wanted to make an alien flick because to me, I remember what inspired Lights Over Montgomery County is I remember being in high school and it was 1996 maybe I think is when it came out, but it was like the remake of the McPherson tape. It was alien abduction incident in Lake County. It was about the family sitting around having dinner or whatever, and all of a sudden they see like stuff going on outside. So the dad and the son kind of run out with a camera, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was aired as if it were real. It was like a special broadcast episode on channel 13, whatever. It's like tonight for the first time you're gonna see this footage of this family, and it was to me it was brilliant the way they filmed that and made people think it was real. Same thing with Alien Autopsy with
Yeah. Yeah.
what's his name? Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek Next Generation. He was the host. He was the Rick Davis, so that's
Yeah.
That's where Rick Davis came from, by the way, is that Jonathan Frakes character from that Alien Autopsy show, how it kept cutting back and forth to the host and then the footage. And so that's where Lights Over Montgomery County came from. And for those that obviously nobody's really seen it yet because it's not released, but those curious about it, that's where I went with that one. That's the vibe that I'm giving, is it's like a lost episode of a show that got broadcast only one time and then it got scrapped by the network, and now there's these bootleg copies of it floating around out there, being kind of illegally distributed. So I think there's some pretty creepy, pretty fun stuff coming in that movie, and I thank you a lot for wanting to be a part of it, because when I was writing it, thinking of that host role, I was like, you know what? I bet you Michael Rock could nail this role. I really I do. And so I pitched it to you, and you said yes right away. And I'm like, oh, thank God he said yes, because I really didn't. I honestly I really didn't have anybody else in mind for that particular role. So I was like, oh, I hope he says yes, because this is his role. I couldn't.
Oh man, yeah. Well, hope I did you proud there.
Oh, you did, definitely. I think people are gonna really. I think it's going to have a little bit of a fan base. There's going to be a lot of haters. I already know that. There's going to be a lot of haters, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
People.
there. That's the thing, man. There's haters everywhere, and Dill and I, we love when we get hate on our movies. It's hilarious. Like we'll use it. like there's this one, like there's a site that they do movie reviews and stuff like that. People can go in there, do movie reviews. There's
Mhm.
like this one salty old goth lady, and she like hates our movies with a passion. So like she did a review on Tahoe Joe. She put like, what'd she say? Uh, Morons go camping in the woods and think it's entertaining.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
you
Yeah.
know, so I was like, yes, yes. And so what we do is we use that as part of our marketing.
Yeah.
it's like we'll post a review and be like, hey, come see the movie that some goth lady said, this about. And
Yeah.
so it generates buzz. People are like, man, okay, if this person is saying this negative thing about it, you know what? I want to see it.
Yep.
I want to see the train wreck.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's how I am too. Well, now I have to
Yeah,
see it. If it's so terrible, I
yeah,
must
yeah,
see it.
yeah, yeah. So I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's overboard. Like you go on the IMDb page for Tahoe Joe, and there's like one review. Dude wrote like no lie, like 10 paragraphs, like downing the movie. It's like, bro, who hurt you? It's like
Wow.
Dylan and I didn't hurt you. We didn't do this to
Yeah.
you. Like, why are you so salty? it's
Yeah.
like, it's again, it's small budget stuff. It's like, but so you just gotta take it with a grain of salt, man. Some of the stuff, use it as marketing for your own self promotion.
Yeah.
Other stuff, just whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because you're gonna have haters, you're gonna have people that love it. As long as you are happy with it,
Hmm.
again, you went out there yourself, you made the movie. You did all the camera work and all the writing and editing and all this other stuff. Even if the movie sucks, even if 99% of the people out there say this movie sucks, still be proud of it, man, because you made that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence on that, because yeah, I am proud of it for sure. By far, I'm more proud of I mean, I'm proud I did the spoken, of course. I mean, I made a movie. I wish I had taken a little bit more time on that one and learned. I wish I had learned some camera techniques before just kind of jumping into that one. But it is what it is. But with this one, yeah, I'm not too worried about the haters. I'm a pretty even keel kind of laid back guy. I don't typically get too much into the internet drama. I have been known to kind of get a little defensive once in a while on some of these social media posts, but only when people start kind of getting personal. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care if somebody says, "Yeah, I didn't like your movie because I'm not a fan of aliens." Okay, hey, thanks for watching, man. Sorry it wasn't your thing. But when people come out and they're like, "Oh, this sucks so bad, and it's just a pile of trash, and this director shouldn't be marketing it this way," like the way I've been marketing the movie, I've been getting a lot of hate. People are like, "Oh, you're so stupid because like you can totally just look it up on IMDb and see that it's a movie." It's like, I understand that. I'm not really trying to get people to believe that the thing is really a lost piece of
Yeah, yeah,
footage.
yeah.
I'm having fun with it. Like,
Yeah,
don't
it's
attack
fun.
my fun. Yeah, don't attack my fun. Like,
Yeah, bro.
don't get personal with it. And I'm okay. I can totally handle the hate, but like there was a guy the other day that kind of was like, "What is this spam BS?" Blah blah. And I'm like, and I kind of just started talking shit with him. I wasn't really like super offended, but I just kind of started talking shit with him, and it was going back and forth. And then he kind of just started to get a little bit more personal with it. I'm like, all right, I need to stop because this guy's gonna piss me off, and I don't want to go down that road. That's not why I'm doing it. That's not why I'm posting about it. Like I don't want to get in these little pissing matches with trolls, basically. I don't.
Yeah, you know what? So there was a guy in one of those groups that, man, this dude absolutely hated Ghost,
I know
right?
who you're
And so
talking
this guy,
about.
yeah, this guy would constantly trash Ghost, and so like it was to the point where it wasn't even funny anymore. It was just like sad. It's like, again, bro, who hurt you?
Yeah,
And so Dylan messages the guy, and he totally changes his tone. He was like, I expected something more like Tahoe Joe, and it wasn't Tahoe Joe.
mm,
And then but the guy started being nice and even asking Dylan for some advice to make a movie and all sort of stuff, and just kind of defused the bomb.
yeah,
It's like, I don't know, man. So some of these people, I don't know, like they're having a rough time in their life, they're having a bad day or something like that, so they don't really know what to do.
yeah,
So they it's like something inside of them is telling them, okay, if I attack this person and make this person feel like crap, I'm gonna feel better about myself.
yeah,
No, so you just get so if the attacks seem personal, more than likely it's not personal. They're
yeah.
just because they don't know you.
Right.
They don't know you, man. They're
Yeah,
just something is triggering their mind, their brains to attack you, and
yeah,
that's why you just kind of, all right, buddy,
yeah.
on to the next one. I'm still gonna make these movies,
Right.
crappy or not. I'm still gonna make the movies.
Yeah,
If you don't like it, well, don't watch it.
yeah,
When you see this new movie come up by Michael Rock or whoever else, like, okay, you have the opportunity to watch it or not watch it.
right.
You didn't like the other three movies, so why are you going to watch the fourth?
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, and again, just another testament to your guys' character, how you can, because I know exactly what guy you're talking about. Um, I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't say it if I did, but I know exactly who you're talking about, and he was. I mean, he was just every chance he got was like, boom, this movie's terrible.
yeah,
So
yeah,
just a testament to your guys' character, how you can take that and be like, look, man, we didn't hurt you. Like we're just trying to make movies. That's all we're trying to do. And if you
yeah,
hated it, whatever. So to hear, because I didn't know that, to hear that Dylan messaged him was like, look, bro, like chill out, and then now they're kind of, I'm not gonna say friends, obviously, but now it's the guy changed his tone.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool. Again, another testament to your guys' character. That you guys are just phenomenal guys, and I think that's a good spot to end on, man. I mean, we're at about an hour and a half now. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time. I feel like I could sit and talk with you all day because you're just a really cool guy to talk to. But
Thanks, man.
um, hour and a half, I've taken up enough of your time. So is there anything else you want to throw out into the universe before we cut this off here?
Uh, Man, you know what? So one thing I learned about a handful of years ago is finding balance. All right, so this has nothing to do with movies, but if you're struggling in life, if things are hard, if work sucks and you're coming home and you're depressed all the time, you need to find a good balance with yourself. Go out there. If work is really hard, instead of coming home and drinking and complaining about work, go out and find a new hobby. For me, that was movies. I found movies, started making movies, give me that balance I needed in life. You know, Stay away from the drugs, stay away from the alcohol. Try to make yourself happy, man. Balance is key in this world, man. So maybe that's not what you want to hear, but I've been through some crazy stuff in my life. You know, I've been through, divorce, suicidal thoughts, substance abuse, PTSD, survivor's guilt, combat, all this stuff. And man, if I can make it, everybody else out there can make it. So, things are hard. Work on yourself, man. Find a balance. Find something you enjoy doing that has nothing to do with, say, what you do for a living.
Right.
All right. Work on you being happy.
Powerful words, man. I mean, whether it was, and of course, it's what I always want to hear. Positivity. I always want to hear positivity. So I think it's beautiful, man. And somebody out there, hopefully, somebody will listen to this and hear that and know, okay, yeah, maybe there is something else out there for me, because like I said, you having your background there, there's obviously something else out there for you now. My background struggling with addiction, there's something else out there for me. I'm glad I found it. So thank you for saying that, because that really is that's powerful stuff. And I'm glad you said it and mentioned it, and it just shows how beautiful of a person you really are. Just I can't say enough good things about you, man. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad you came on the podcast, and I really look forward to working with you more in the future. And this Reno trip, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it happen. I'm a married guy. I've got lots of kids at home and a day job and things, so it's going to be a lot to juggle. We got a newborn baby around the house, so it's going to be a lot to juggle. But I'm going to try everything I can to do it and get down there and meet you guys in person, and hopefully have you in a zombie flick in one way or another, man.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it, man. I am greatly honored that you like me enough to keep putting me in your movies, and you wanted me on your podcast. So thank you for that again.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime, for sure. It'll hopefully it's not just a one-time deal for the podcast. I'll have you on anytime. And as far as the movies are concerned, yeah, it's you're pretty high up on the Christmas card list, sir. So we'll get you. I'll
Awesome.
always have a role for Mike Rock. That's for sure.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you again for coming on the podcast, and thank you for telling your story and just being who you are. Keep being who you are. It's wonderful.
All right.
All right, man. Take care.